Ladies and gentlemen of all the Smoke podcasts, Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson.
BTS, man, over the waters. We're out here in Croatia, hanging out on the happy boat. Jack is a little scared. That's why he has his headphones on and smoking. He's just trying to stay meditated. Man, stay tuned behind the scenes. All the smoke. Croatia.
How would you compare Clay's boat to this right now?
Not even close. Not even close. Clay's boat was smaller. It was good for Clay because him and his dog. Y'all don't see it? Go look, see all them goats over there? That's some nice sized boys too. They ain't no little bitty, but that's some grown Billy goat. Holla at your boy, Billy Goat. What's up, Billy? My partner Billy and him over there chilling. All right, Billy. Hey, you missed it. My partner Billy Goat. Billy was over there. We just hollered at Billy Goat.
Really?
Yeah. Him and the crew. This is beautiful, man.
Come on, man, we've had a great day today. We hopped on the boat, sailed to a couple islands. What are we doing here today? So I understand this is a little club team, right?
Yeah, this is a local team, Jadranka team from the Lošinj Islands. I spend my summers playing basketball here, enjoyed it quite a lot. So a lot of people work here, a lot of kids are very excited to see you guys, and I feel like it's a great opportunity to send an inspirational message and, just snap some photos. So I think the kids are gonna love it.
Sounds good. So my name is Matt Barnes. I played 14 years in the NBA. I got a chance to play with Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry. I won a championship with Steph Curry. Post-career, I do media. We have a show called All the Smoke on Showtime. So, Jack, you want to tell them a little about yourself?
Steven Jackson, played with the San Antonio Spurs, won a championship with the San Antonio Spurs, played in the NBA 14 years.
So how old are you guys? How old? What's the age range here? 11? 13? 14? 8? Okay, little man. What about you? How old are you girls? Don't be shy. How old? 13? Okay. So what is your guys' goal in basketball? Why is everyone here?
Playing NBA.
You guys want to play in the NBA, huh? Yeah. Who's your guys' favorite player? Kobe Bryant? What about you guys?
Morant.
Well, no LeBron fans here? Dang. Yeah, just the coach. You guys have any questions?
I hope it's not a personal question, but what was the feeling when Kobe didn't flinch?
Oh, when I faked the ball at Kobe? Man, I wanted to fight Kobe that day. I told him too. Obviously, we know how great Kobe was as a player physically, but he was a mental guy. He liked to attack you mentally, so he would do a lot of stuff like elbow you and grab you and push you and do a lot of other stuff that the rest would never call. So I was ready to fight Kobe that day. I don't even know how the ball fake happened, but we became teammates after that and really became brothers after that. How old are you?
16.
Oh, so you were a baby when that happened. What year was that, 2009? So you were 2 years old when that happened. What about you? Got a question? How old are you? How?
7.
7. As you can see, Jack didn't want to fly, so Jack took the 4-hour van ride. So him and the luggage will be here shortly. But we're here, man. We're excited. See you guys soon. Today, Stak and I hit the Sunset Sports Media Festival panel. I'm excited, man. It's been a good, relaxing trip. I've got a chance to get away from my crazy-ass kids for a whole week, so I'm nice and recharged. You guys stay locked in. All the smoke, Croatia.
It is my great honor and pleasure to introduce two gentlemen that are known all around the world, former NBA champions and hosts of All the Smoke podcasts, Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson.
We're here to talk about All the Smoke. What was your relationship like with the media, given that you are now a source of the media?
I still hate them. So many people have opinions about what we do, but no experience. So that bothers people who actually have experience.
I think a lot of the media gravitates to who's the biggest star. And once I saw the vision, it was very clear that they had a unique voice that could fit where no one else was.
The way you are so open on your podcast with your emotions and you create this space for other men to be so vulnerable, that is the antithesis of what we see in the media of a male athlete.
When you come to Malca Studios in Santa Monica, the sun's shining, we're right by the beach, we have music playing, we're smoking. It's really a safe space, and I can't tell you how many people we've spoken to that'll say, you know, I've never told anyone this. And that's what we kind of know, like, we got them. They feel comfortable.
So I want to take y'all to the All the Smoke set 1 second. So while you were talking, somebody made a abrupt noise up there. What would happen if that happened to our show?
You would have to do push-ups. So if you don't know what push-ups
It'll
are.
be that guy.
I saw him. Raise your hand. Yes, sir. It will be you.
Come on down, let me go. We're bringing the All the Smoke set here to Croatia.
Push-ups are push-ups with a joint in your mouth. There we go. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting tired. 7. Finish. 9, 10.
Could you please just give a huge round of applause to Matt Barnes, Stak, and Steven Espinosa?
This is incredible, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Creative magic for us.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. This is wonderful.
Barnes, played 14 years in the NBA, won a championship with the Golden State Warriors in 2017, retired from there, and unexpectedly transitioned into media. I work for ESPN, fortunate enough to have this show, All the Smoke with Showtime, and my brother Steven Jackson, and do a few other things on the media side.
How y'all doing? Okay, all right. I'm doing good as well. Steven Jackson, played in the NBA 14 years, won a championship with the Spurs, and just a blessed guy to be in a great position, to have a great show, and to work with great people. I'm not special. I'm just a guy who works hard and appreciates the people around me. So honored to be here, and thanks for having us.
How our show came about, we were both retired, doing media on different media outlets, and just getting a really positive response from our fellow teammates that we used to play with in the league and, you know, people we were working with. So one day I approached Jack while we were medicating and told him, hey, we should do a show together. And he's like, okay, like, what show? And I was like, well, let's do a podcast. And he asked me what a podcast was, and I didn't really know at the time what a podcast was. I just knew that we could, we can indulge and consume cannabis while we talk about sports. And from there, we had a chance to run across my guy, Brian Daly, and he had happened to just be a part of something called Showtime Basketball that was just getting started. And I pitched him on the idea. He understood, but didn't know what would happen. I didn't know what would happen, but we made a partnership. And man, 3.5 years later, we've won several awards, and we're, I guess, worldwide recognized now because we're out here in Croatia.
Pushing 200 episodes.
Yeah, coming up on our 200th episode soon. So it's just been, again, it's been an amazing experience getting a chance to interview some of the most famous athletes and entertainers in the world. It's been 3.5 years since we've been working nearly 200 shows. What do you feel separates our shows from other shows?
Just us being authentic. I think when we started our show, we didn't create our show or have a blueprint of somebody else's show to see what our show can be like. Everything that we start, everything that we have with our show is organic, from the name, from the way we dress, from the way we do our interviews, from the way we talk, from the relationships we have with our guests. And I think that's what's different. Our fans support us in that organic way. Right, so a lot of people that have shows, they don't have the relationships with people all across the board like we have. And with us, we wear emotion on our sleeves. So anytime somebody come on our show, they're willing to tell their stories and get some things off their chest because we live our lives that way. So it works for us.
Yeah, and I also think, too, we've been fortunate enough to create a situation where people feel comfortable talking to us. A lot of time in media, particularly when you're athletes, you really don't give your all because you're not really sure of the motive of the person on the other side of the microphone or the camera. But we've been able, like Jack said, because we are so transparent about who we are, we've had the ability to have some of the biggest names in the world, from Kobe Bryant to Will Smith to Steph Curry to Snoop Dogg, really open up and just kind of tell us stuff they've never told anyone before. So I think that's another reason why our show has been successful and continues to gain steam, is because we're talking to some of the most famous people in the world, and they're telling us stuff that they normally don't tell anybody. But we couldn't do anything without our fans, and although some of you may know us, may not know us, we appreciate everyone who's even looking at us right now, because we're out here sitting and you might not even understand what we're saying, but we just appreciate you being here and appreciate you supporting us. Jack, we've had a number of amazing guests. Do any guests come to mind as some of your favorite shows we've done so far?
I mean, of course, Kobe, probably his last interview, somebody who we all looked up to, somebody I grew up with and admired his passion, his drive, his dedication to be great. I think Kobe episode is one that I hold tight, but also the Will Smith, just the timing of it, everything that he had going on and willing to come talk to us first. I think that said a lot to me, so those 2 episodes for sure.
My episodes, obviously Kobe, me and Kobe's last interview, and obviously our history with nearly fighting and then becoming teammates. It was great to sit down and have a conversation with him, and like I said earlier, for him to open up and share stuff that he normally doesn't share. He had this persona of being the Mamba and obviously a tremendous basketball player, but we had the ability to somehow crack that wall, and we got to learn about Kobe, the father, and the businessman, and the husband, and just all the other stuff he was into. So that was definitely my favorite interview.
So since all the smoke started, a lot of athletes, a lot of people come along and started podcasts, and a lot of people doing a great job with their podcasts, and there's a lot of people, it's too many to name. But we've helped do something big here at Showtime and help build Showtime basketball. How does it feel, Matt, to have a hand in what's built here at Showtime? How does this differ from the previous jobs you had?
It's been great. Obviously, thanking Steven Espinoza and Brian Daly for taking a chance on us. I remember we were talking with Steven just the other day, and the first time we were doing ad reads, he's like, oh shit, I don't know if this is gonna work. So, from that day to kind of, again, being an award-winning podcast, it's been great. And really, to me, the trust that Showtime has had in us to continue to allow us to help them build out this sector of their company, bringing on the likes of Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and DeMarcus Cousins and Rachel Nichols and Jamal Crawford, and just all the people that were in our circle that we were able to help kind of make the transition a little smooth for them coming over. And I'll put the names I just mentioned against any names of any other network across the board when it comes to basketball, because I really feel like we have the best crew of people when it comes to that. So again, it's been dope having our show and really just learning the business and helping build out Showtime basketball.
Like I said, podcasts are somebody starting a new podcast every day. Like, there's so many podcasts out and very few are authentic. And so much has changed in the media space. What do you think is next to change? I mean, obviously, we setting the standard with doing a podcast in Croatia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think is next in the podcast space?
I think, I mean, I don't know what's next, but I know that we want to continue to just elevate, continue to have quality content, continue to be real and authentic and be personable with our fans and people that, you know, look at what we do, continue to set the bar. You know what I mean? I think, again, we've set a standard in this space that a lot of people have, you know, not necessarily copied, but just have come up and told us, like, hey, you know, we started our show because of what you did. So to continue to inspire, but still try to stay on top, still try to, you know, be the best we can be and continue to grow with the support of the team we have, doing more live shows, traveling to different countries, continuing to have interesting guests that share interesting stories with us is, I think, the key to our success and how the space will continue to evolve, because we will continue to evolve.
So a lot of y'all don't know, this is the next question is a question I would really ask him in real life. Like, because with our show, like, we've always been great teammates, and with our show, like the negotiations, the meetings, the way the show's going to go, how it's going to be ran, I put all that in his hands. So I give him a lot of credit for that, for the way the show, the success we've had. I give a lot of credit to him, and this is a question I would ask him in real life. What is in store for All the Smoke as we close out season 4 and head towards season 5 in the fall? Because I would really ask him that.
Yeah, it's, you know, obviously we're coming to the end of season 4. I can't believe we have 4 seasons. The fact that we're here in Croatia is amazing. We had a great interview today with, what's it, Misko, yeah, Jokic's agent. We're going to interview our guy Damo in a second, coming up on our 200th episode. I hope that is, you know, a big episode, and we'll be able to provide a, you know, kind of a big splash with our 200 episodes. So really, you know, the goal is to finish strong season 4 and come out swinging on season 5. So I'm sure we'll add a few things here and there, but right now, just the goal is to continue to create great content and keep surprising people.
It means a lot to be able to come in and do a show here in Croatia. We set a lot of standards in the podcast space. We was the first to do a lot of things, and we take pride in that because we wasn't the big name NBA players. We wasn't the guys on all the commercials. So for us to be here doing something that hasn't been done and setting the standard for podcasts, I think is wonderful. And we thank you guys for accepting us, because we could have been a lot of places and could have had nobody out here. So to have y'all out here supporting, and like you said, even if y'all don't understand, just understand what All the Smoke is, and to be out there and support the conference and support Damo, I think it's a beautiful experience for us. But thank y'all for being here. So Matt, the question is to you: how important is it for us to bring our brand out here and do a show like that here in Croatia?
Well, I think it's very important. I mean, everybody, you know, you want to be big and you want to succeed, but you don't only want to succeed in, you know, your space. You want to exceed internationally. And obviously this is an opportunity to come, you know, across the globe and you know, kind of show our talents and show what we can do in this space. So I think it's huge to be able to fly over the water and have the opportunity. So again, we want to thank everyone who made that possible. It's great. It won't be our last time here. We've loved every second we've been here on Lošinj, and then having a chance to come here and meet the people and eat the food and see the whistling stairs and the beautiful sunsets. I mean, it's just been, you know, it's been great. Plus, I get away from my 6 kids. So any excuse I can get away from my 6 kids, I'm always going to do that. But yeah, no, it's been great coming across the water, and we look forward to continuing to do that. Before we bring up our next guest, we wanted to take a chance to see if anybody, and don't be afraid, has any kind of questions for us. You can ask about our career, about our show, about anything. So if you do have a question, raise your hand and we'll bring a mic man around and we'll answer your question to the best of our ability. So anybody? We got a mic. There we go.
As someone that works in basketball media and produces content for basketball fans, I want to thank you a lot for basically giving us countless stories from your careers and from the guests that were on All the Smoke. I think you did a lot for the culture and the culture of basketball podcasts that has really risen in the last few years, and I think you two are basically the pioneers of that. So thanks a lot for that.
Thank you.
And to give you one basketball question, maybe as you were both a part of the 2007 We Believe Warriors, that was one of my favorite teams ever. Do you maybe see a comparison with the Miami Heat that are now in the finals, both 8 seeds? Yeah, they made it to the finals. You made it deep into the second round, but I kind of see similarities in the character. Those both teams are really tough, full of tough players like yourself, Baron Davis, and all the rest of the guys. If you maybe tell me if you see any resemblance in those two runs.
That's a good question. Miami's been incredible, and you're right. That Golden State team had a bunch of talented, should I say, misfits. I had my issues. He had some issues. Other guys had some issues, and we all brought our issues together and became an issue for the rest of the NBA. That's really where, Stak and I, although we had known each other from playing against each other, that's where we became teammates, and then we became brothers. And that team was special. A bunch of guys that were ready to go to war every single game and, went out there and played as hard as we can and, made NBA history by beating, Dirk that year. Dirk was the MVP of the league. I think their team had won like 67 games. And we went out there and shocked the NBA, shocked the world. The first 8 seed to beat a number 1 seed in a 7-game series. It had been done in a 5-game series. It was first time ever to be done in a 7-game series. So to compare that to Miami, although we were really good, we just didn't do what they did. They've been incredible with, 7 or 8 undrafted players, some of their best players being hurt. But one thing we can compare to is the heart that Jimmy Butler has. And that's how all of us play. We all had that type of heart and fire and passion. We're willing to do anything to help our team win. Really take your hat off to Miami. I'm happy for a lot of those young guys that are hopefully getting big deals off this run they've made.
And thank you for the flowers. Appreciate it. We definitely feel like we were the creators of this space, as far as being athletes, but to hear that from somebody way out here in Croatia and to have that support, it means a lot to us. So the reason why our success has been so good is for people like you. So thank you.
For sure. Any other?
Here one question first.
Okay, yeah.
I'm following you from the first episodes, from the jump and everything else. For me, your favorite episode when you bring Rachel Nichols after the bubble and give her the platform to say what was happened with her, and I think that this is why you have this platform, to give them opportunity to say something, because you were the only one to give her a chance to get her side out, not only that. So this is probably my favorite episode because of that. And the question for you is about what do you think about this recent coaches changes, because everyone, if someone win a championship, one worse season, they are out, and now Frank Vogel from 5 minutes ago is in the Phoenix. What do you think about these fast changes?
It's a full circle moment with Rachel. We owe Rachel that. If we was ever put in a position to help her out in any way, it was mandatory that we did that. She started both of us at ESPN with the jump and other things. I've even stood behind Rachel through everything. So to have her, to be able to bring her up and put her in a position to work with us, it was only right. It was only right for us to do.
NBA coaches, nobody is safe. I mean, you win a championship and don't perform, you're out. Budenholzer loses. He won a championship 2 or 3 years ago, and he's out. All these coaches changing spots, and I think it's because the players make so much money. When we first came in the NBA, the coaches were in control. The players are in control, hands down now. And if you don't get along with your star player, or you don't produce and you have a roster that the organization feels like you should win with, no matter how good you are, you get fired. We can name maybe Greg Popovich as someone he played for, and Coach Spoelstra over in Miami. You don't really get tenures anymore. Those guys are both past 10 years at their team, but that's a rarity not only in our sport, but across the board. The easiest person to blame is always going to be the coach. Now, that's not saying some coaches don't deserve it, because some coaches suck, plain and simple. But sometimes it's just easier, instead of picking out the players who need to be better at times, let's just blame the coach. It's a cutthroat business, but they're paid well just as the players are paid well, and I guess it just kind of comes with the territory.
Another question?
Yeah.
So first of all, you've been in the NBA for a long time. You've been part of championship teams. You've played with a lot of really big stars and other role players and teammates. You had a lot of experience. So from your experience, from your point of view, what do you think is the biggest misconception, or something that people don't know about being an NBA player, part of your life that maybe people don't know about, that seems very different to them? Because I think People very often approach it very, like, have a simplistic view of it. It's just training, you go to the games and that's it, and you have a few interviews. So what's the biggest probably misconception? The second part is about the podcast. You do a brilliant job. I think I can speak for everybody in Croatia. We're very proud to have you here, and we're very proud and thankful to Damjan, who is somewhere here, I think there, for bringing you guys over here. Your process of preparing the podcast, how much did it change from the beginning?
Okay.
In the beginning, I think it was more relaxed and more medication-wise oriented. Now, I think maybe you have a more professional approach. I don't know if that's the right choice of words, but what's the difference there?
We'll get it. You want to do the first part?
What was say? What was the first part? Long question.
What was the first part of your question?
Yeah, what's the biggest misconception? What's something
about athletes, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just life, period. Like, if your life's not right at home, you're not going to have good games. You're not going to be able to perform. That's what people don't understand. But athletes are human beings. So if they come to a game and have an off night, don't think it's just because they haven't been practicing on that game. They can be spending weeks in the gym practicing to make that one shot, to make that one fan happy. But they can have something go wrong at home or on the way to the game that can throw off their whole day. So athletes are humans. Yeah, we're expected to be able to take more, and much more is expected from us because of how much we get paid and stuff like that. But athletes are human. So when you see them have bad games, don't think as an athlete that doesn't care about the game or doesn't care about winning. They're human just like everybody else.
Yeah, I think that probably right there is the biggest misconception, because we go through the same thing everyone else goes through. We lose parents, we lose family members, we go through divorces, we get in trouble and it's blown up. So there's so much that goes into being able to focus on our job. You know what I mean? Because we are paid good money. People sometimes think that we're superhuman and nothing affects us, when it's quite the opposite. You know, it's really hard to have the world always talking about you, whether it's good or bad. So that part is tough. And I think another misconception is, I think sometimes fans think because guys may play on the bench or don't play that much that they can't play. Like, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Like, the last guy on the bench is better than 95% of the world. You know, you just happen to be either in a situation where you're not getting an opportunity to play, or just the guys in front of you are that much better, but it doesn't make them, he said, oh, the coach is a hater. It doesn't make them any less. And then to your second question, yeah, we've just grown. You know, we've grown from the beginning. Like I said, when Brian said, hey, let's do it, we didn't know what we were doing, to be honest with you. Like, we didn't know what a podcast was, what was going on. We just tried to come out and talk and have a good time. And obviously, you know, just like when we played, we can watch film and kind of see how shows win and where we can improve on. And hey, maybe we shouldn't smoke that much this time because, hey, you know, we both were forgetting questions or falling asleep.
And I'm going to sleep. Yeah, I was falling asleep.
Yeah, so, you know, obviously we've grown, and I think it's been great because we started seeing our work everywhere. Like, ESPN would be taking clips of our shows, and other shows would be taking clips of our shows, and our edits would. We have a great edit team over at Malca. Our edits would go viral. You know what I mean? And I think that's maybe when we started taking it a little bit more serious, because we're just like, oh, they're really listening. Like, they're like, because we didn't know if it was people were gonna listen. Were people gonna like us? Like Jack said, we weren't stars, we were role players, so we didn't know how we were gonna be received. We just knew we had to be real. And once we kind of started realizing that, man, our voices literally traveling around the world, that's when we started realizing, like, okay, hey, you know, we can do something special in this space and make good money while we're doing it. So it's definitely been a learning, and we continue to learn in this space. Good question.
Question over here.
Yeah.
So you're in the homeland of Dražen Petrovic,
yes,
Toni Kukoc,
yes,
like Milan Bogdanovic. Up north a little bit here, you've got Doncic, Dragic. Down south, and east a little bit, you got Nurkic. Out east, you've got Jokic. Back in the day, Vlade Divac. The progression of players from Europe and this area, from when you started playing ball, the sort of the impression that NBA players had, was there a stigma on foreign players, and has that changed? Obviously now we have Jokic, two-time MVP, but when you first started playing to now, have you seen a difference in sort of the image or the impression that NBA players have towards European players? Is there more respect now than when you guys started?
Way more. It's not even close. From when I was in the league to now, you know, you had a few guys come over that could play, that would gain your respect. Now you got NBA teams starting their organizations with guys from over here. So it's night and day, but it's great for the game of basketball because the game is growing. You know, they want the game to be global. It's putting a lot of pressure on guys in the States. They need to work on their game now. Kids from other countries are growing up and being just as talented as them. So, but it also shows how hard you guys are working. You know, it shows how basketball is growing here and how serious you guys taking it. A lot of guys in the United States are getting opportunities and really not even working hard to get them. You know, a lot of guys know people or just got that one Instagram post. But I know it's 10 times harder to get from over here to over there and to be MVP like Jokic. So it's harder for you guys, and you get way more credit than they got, you know, when we first came in the league. It's night and day.
I got a chance to meet someone who played against the Dream Team in '92. And I think that was kind of obviously showing what we had, but I think after that was a wake-up call to the rest of the world, because after that, it seems like every time after that, European players and international players were getting better and better and better. And to keep it real with you, the NBA is ran by European players now, or international players. You look at the last 3 or 4 MVPs are all international players, all young players that are all probably going to win it again. So to Jack's point, I think it's great because I think you guys are making us get better. Like, we have to step our games up now because we know that there's thousands of kids that are growing up here, if not millions of kids that are growing up, you know, internationally that want to get in that spot. And for people who don't know, in the history of the NBA, there's been less than 5,000 players. Less than 5,000 players. So everybody in the world wants to play in the NBA, and each season there's only about 400 to 450 players in that league. And a lot of it is European influx now. European players are coming over and they're taking jobs because, like Jack said, American players aren't taking it seriously. So that's why, just random, but that's why people are making such a big deal about what Ja Morant is doing, because he's a young American player that's supposed to kind of carry the torch once LeBron and Steph and KD leave. He's supposed to be one of those American players that American can hang their hat on. So that's why it's such a big deal back where we're at of what he's doing. Because again, like I just said, European players are running the league. You know what I mean? So, you know, America does have pride and they want to do, they do want to be represented. But to answer your original question, the respect has gone way up because it's definitely been earned and it's just. And again, I credit you guys for making the guys back at home better.
One last question here. Hi Matt, hi Jack. Love the show. Watching you from the start. Watched the Kobe episode like 8 times. So yeah, every time I get a goosebumps. So nice job.
Thank you.
My question is pretty silly one, but what did you guys last had a one-on-one and who won?
Have we ever played one-on-one?
Never.
I don't think we've ever played. No, I think we've had one-on-one. Who can smoke the most?
That's about it.
But I don't think we've ever played one-on-one.
Maybe here tomorrow.
It depends. I don't really smoke that much anymore, so I'd say he would probably win now. But back when we were both in our heyday, we were pretty impressive. We smoked until we passed out.
It was even back in the day.
Yeah, like when we first started hanging out. You know, the one thing about Jack and I became really close. I'll share a personal story. I lost my mom to cancer in 2007. So she was diagnosed November 1st and died November 27th. So within 26 days, she died. And this is right after we had that We Believe run with the beating Dallas the very next season. And Jack and I became super close because he was the one that always came to check on me, whether he'd bring me food or he would just come over and talk to me and smoke. And we just kind of smoked our pains away, you know. But even before that, like, we had a unique team where, and I'm sorry for talking about smoking if there's any kids here, but this is just really how we moved. We would go from practice and go to Jack's spot and watch game film and just smoke and talk about the game. Like, we wanted it that bad. And, you know, I think you can kind of tell with that team, we made a historical run. But cannabis has always kind of been a part of our journey together. And I'm just happy now that the NBA and leagues across, I can't say the world, but, you know, leagues across the United States have kind of woken up and understanding, you know, the importance of cannabis and how it can be beneficial from everyone from children to our grandparents. So no one-on-one, but we've had a smoke off, and I'd probably say back on our heyday it was tied, but now he would win.
And if we played one-on-one, the game would never end because we both knew using all our fouls.
And probably
we like the fouls.
Probably end up fighting each other. And everything,
we probably end up fighting, so the game would never end.
Yeah. Now we want to welcome to the stage, man, one of the most gracious hosts I've ever met, someone I got a chance to play against in the NBA, And then through Steven Espinoza, ran into him in Las Vegas and got a chance to reconnect and hang out a little bit. And next thing I know, we're coming to Croatia. I'm like, to do what? To talk about basketball? They're like, yeah, bring your wives. I'm like, sign me up. So welcome to the show, Damjan. I don't want to mispronounce your last name. Rudež. Thank you very much for obviously having us out here. And, you know, the Sunset Media Festival, you know, when you started explaining to me, I thought it was incredible. I've been in your ear since I've been here that we got to bring this to the United States, and I want to help you do that. Can you tell the people how that got started and your mission behind it?
Appreciate you guys having me. Really hoping you enjoyed this week in Croatia, and very proud that we have you here, and you know, very happy that you guys are taking your game internationally as well. So the whole idea behind the Sunset Sports Media Festival came from Pete Radovic, you know, the VP of CBS Sports, and he said, I want us to do a sports business festival in Croatia that everyone wants to come to, you know, like a lot of these are just boring. They bore you with PDFs, with PowerPoints. You know, it's a corporate event. We want to do something funky, something off, something that's very, you know, people are going to have FOMO if they don't come here. You know, we want to have all the biggest stars, all the biggest experts in the sports media industry and sports business, have them come here, enjoy, you know, the beautiful sea, the beautiful coast, you know, enjoy the networking opportunities we can provide and just, you know, keep the festival growing.
Yeah, it's been great. From the food to the people to the views. We've definitely enjoyed it. Born in Croatia, when did you find basketball, and was there anyone as you were growing up who you kind of looked to in the space as, you know, admiration or someone you looked up to or wanted to be like?
Yeah, well, I started playing because of my older brother. You know, younger brother does what the older brother, you know, he follows what the older brother does, right? So my brother Ivan is 7 years older than me, and he had Jordan posters all over the wall. So it was done pretty much after that. You know, obviously being a Croatian, Toni Kukoc and Dražen Petrovic are the first guys that come to mind, my first idols and guys I adored watching, especially Toni Kukoc. Try to, you know, follow their footsteps and dream big, and that's how it started. I picked up the game of basketball when I was 7 and never looked back.
I got a crazy story. I literally DM'd Toni Kukoc last night, never had the opportunity to meet him, huge fan of him, and he responded.
Yeah.
And I asked if he was here because I was like, hey, you know, we'll try to fly you out here and talk. He's like, no, unfortunately, I just left for Chicago, but my son is a huge fan of your show. I'm like, well, it's only right. You got to come on the show. So hopefully we'll get Toni soon.
Yeah, I hope so. He would be an incredible guest and definitely one of the, you know, greatest Croatian basketball players in history, for sure.
Agreed. You were called, you know, one of the greatest wing players to ever come out here. Out of here. You played internationally from 2002 to 2014. When you finally made the jump to the NBA, what was that like? You've been playing professionally here for, you know, 10 plus years. You finally make the jump to, I think, what every boy that puts a ball in his hand is, the dream of being in the NBA. What was that like for you?
It was very weird, to be honest, because I didn't make the NBA till very late. You know, I got to the NBA when I was 28, so I was undrafted. I went and applied for the draft when I was 22, and no one picked me, so I was just kind of crushed and went back overseas, and I was like, all right, I'll just build my career here and see what I can do. And then when I was 28, you know, I played well, obviously, in the ACB, in a team called CAI Zaragoza. Spanish league is really fantastic, so I was fortunate enough to do well over there, and all of a sudden, my, you know, agent said there was interest from the NBA. So I was like, that's fantastic, but I really won't believe it until it happens. But it was good. He kept, you know, saying there's interest. I said, I don't want to go there and try out. You know, I don't want to get dream crushed again. I'm having a good career here in Europe, made a good name for myself. And then Indiana really showed, you know, fantastic interest. And Larry Bird started asking around, and I was like, okay, if Larry Bird is asking around, this might be something serious there. And we set up one workout, and actually a crazy story I got to share with you guys. You know how you work out for a team, and there's normally like 3 or 4 guys. It's like 3-on-3 or 2-on-2. So I'm expecting like other people to be there, right? So I'm getting ready for the workout, and I'm walking in the gym, in the practice facility, and there's no one there but me. And there's 30 execs on the bleachers, Larry Bird sitting in the chair, and like 15 members of the coaching staff and Frank Vogel on the court. And I'm by myself. And I'm thinking like, all right, it's do or die. So let's see what we can do.
That's dope. That's dope.
It worked out.
Definitely.
What was your welcome to the NBA moment?
I remember it like it was yesterday, to be honest, man. We all had one, and mine was in practice, I would say like 5 days in, and Donald Sloan dunked at me so hard. It was on fast break, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no way he's dunking on me like that. And he just smashed it. The whole team started laughing, and we stopped practice. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, all right, I just got to take it, and that was it. That was my 5 days in. That was my welcome to the NBA moment. And then after that, actually, one of the first games we played, like to add on to the story, like there's no bums in the NBA like that. You know, like the 15 guy on the roster is really gonna, you know, kick your ass if it happens. So, you know, there was a lot of guys there that I wasn't familiar with. when I got there, you know? So we're playing the Bulls, and Doug McDermott drops 13 on me in like 4 minutes. And, you know, Taj Gibson, Joakim Noah setting the screens. I'm fighting for my life. And
They said
you know,
hard screens.
They said hard screens, dude. So he's just shooting, the ball is going in. I'm like, this can't be happening, like, not like this.
Right.
So, you know, coach pulled me out the game. I was like, all right, you know, that's welcome to the NBA.
Gotta wake up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Paul George suffered a brutal leg injury when you was there. What was the vibe of the team, and what could have been if he wouldn't have got hurt?
That was very unfortunate, man. I mean, in some way it worked out for me because I got the minutes. You know, it was my rookie year and I had a chance of playing, which is something that rarely happens. So, you know, thanks to Coach Vogel, he found me a rotation spot actually. So I played, you know, as part of the second unit. And I had my role, I had my shots, had, you know, the set plays that were ran for me. But obviously not having Paul George there, you know, really annulled their chances for anything. And you got to think they're coming off of, you know, Eastern Conference Finals. They're, you know, one of the hottest teams in the league. And he suffers a leg injury, and I'm like, I mean, you know, God knows what's going to happen with us now. And we actually had a chance of making the playoffs in the last game of the season. The last game of the regular season, we playing Memphis away. And if we beat them, we go to the playoffs. And Marc Gasol has like 40, 20, 10, and 8.
Ooh.
I mean, it felt like it, you know. It was really, so we just went home, and that was, you know, a disastrous season. I wouldn't call it disastrous, but it was, you know, I wish we would have made the playoffs, and then after that, I got traded.
What was your favorite moment playing in the NBA? Like, you have a moment where you scored, you know, on somebody or dunked somebody. What was one of your favorite moments in the NBA?
I actually had two. One was hitting the game winner against Orlando when I played for the Pacers, and I scored 16 points in the last quarter. And we were down, and we kind of lost 7 games in a row, and the team was doing really bad. And I missed my first couple of shots, and Coach Vogel just kept me in the game. He kept me in the game, and I really, honestly, I couldn't believe it. I was like, all right, I mean, there must be something there. Like, obviously, you know, it can't get any worse than this. And shots started dropping, hand got hot. You already know what that feels like. So, you know, it was the last quarter, and ended up hitting the game winner off of George Hill pass, and then the whole team greeted me in the locker room. You know, everyone was cheering and so happy for me. It was a real celebration. It felt like we won the title because it was, you know, a terminal season. And then the second moment was guarding Kobe. You know, it was surreal just seeing him.
That's always an adventure,
right? He's like a spider, you know, making his net around you, and it was surreal. You know, just had him on the switch a couple of times, and it was like, all right, let's go. So that was really fantastic.
You mentioned off camera, you had a story about KG when you played with Minnesota in 2015, 2016.
There's a lot of KG stories. Which ones we can say and which ones we can't. But, you know, playing with him was definitely one of the highlights of my career, man. You know, Kevin Garnett is one of the most special people I've ever been around. You guys are fortunate enough to be around him often. And, you know, what I can say about him is just what I remember is the passion and the energy and the storytelling. Like, he was really big on sharing his experience and, you know, passing it along to the future generations. So you got to think, like, we're finishing practice at 2 p.m., right? And I'm thinking I'm going to be home for lunch at 3. And 4:30, I'm in the locker room listening to the stories. And there's 14 of us. Ricky Rubio's there, Tayshaun Prince is there, Andre Miller is there. People are not going home because KG is out there, bald head, all sweaty, all upset because someone said that, I don't know, someone is better than Jordan. And no, you know, people say it just to provoke him because you know he's sensitive when, you know, anybody says anybody's better than Jordan. That experience was surreal, man. So very fortunate to be able to live it.
That's dope. Tell me your thoughts on the growth that we touched on it when we had our Q&A, but just of international players in the league. You know, obviously Giannis, an MVP and a champion. Luka's reign. Luka's on the way. We have Victor, the first pick in the draft. Just so much great talent. What are your thoughts and how proud are you of the growth of the international players and the mark they've been able to make in the league?
I couldn't be more proud, to be honest, especially coming from Croatia and from this region that, you know, yielded so many NBA players that made a big impact in the history, and now even more with Luka and Jokic and, you know, some of my best friends and friendships I made along the way in the NBA, Nikola Vucevic, obviously, you know, who was an all-star, Nemanja Bjelica, who won the championship with the Golden State Warriors, Ricky Rubio, a lot of, you know, great people and, you know, fantastic players. But the league has changed so much, right? I mean, now, even when I was there, it was almost 1/3 international, and now you have the first pick in the draft, and it's crazy. I couldn't be more proud. Like I said, I feel like it's really good for the league, especially, you know, taking the NBA brand all around the world.
It grows the game.
It grows the game. You already know. So looking forward to seeing how it's going to develop in the future even more so.
So the transition from professional sports, not just basketball, but when it's over for an athlete, sometimes there's slip-ups, habits, people go broke. How were you able to successfully transition from your playing career to business?
It wasn't easy, man. I'm not gonna lie. You already know. You all been through it. So those first couple of months when the phone stops ringing and, you know, you gotta find a reason to get out of the house. It's like, all right, am I gonna work out? Am I gonna go get some coffee or this and that? But to be honest, I try to use the most of my time and just relax and do the things I never did. Went skiing, went, you know, had all the lunches, all the nightlife, enjoyed. And then after a while, after like 9 months, it was like, all right, now what? So, you know, I enrolled into business school, and through that, had the great fortune of meeting, you know, Pete Radovic and my incredible partners who said, you know, helped set this festival up. And, you know, through that, we just kind of kept the ball rolling and kickstarted this project, and it's been going fantastic. And I have to say this is a real moment because Pete and I spoke about this, you know, leading up to the show. 1 year ago, when we were wrapping up the first edition of the conference, we said, you know, what if we bring Steven Jackson and Ben Barnes here? And, you know, thanks to Steven Espinoza and Janina, two of the most beautiful people, you know, some of the most beautiful people I know and dear friends, we've been able to make it happen. And we had a vision like, hey, you know, we have this guys set up and it's sunset in the backdrop. And 1 year later, here we are, and I couldn't be more happier. So, you know,
dope.
That's really fantastic.
Well, thank you guys for thinking of us. We appreciate that. Quick hitters now. Just first thing to come to mind. Let us know what you think. Top 5 most impactful international players of all time, in your opinion.
Ooh, impactful.
Impactful, best?
Yeah,
A little bit of both?
You know, obviously, you know, Dražen Petrovic, one of the guys that comes to mind first. Him and Vlade Divac probably were the trailblazer that set the pace for the, you know, Euro players in the 90s. Sabonis.
Arvydas Sabonis.
Sabonis.
Woo-hoo.
People forget about
He was
Sabonis,
good.
especially now with Jokic throwing all these crazy passes. You know, Sabonis was doing that first. Toni Kukoc, incredible. And then you had that generation, you know, Parker, Gasol, Nowitzki. So Dirk, you got to put Dirk there, right? International guys. Obviously, if you got to pick one guy, the greatest international player ever, I would still pick Dirk, still. You know, but
right now,
does anyone have a chance, in your opinion, to surpass Dirk?
I think so. You know, we've seen crazier things happen. Obviously, that title was so tough, and that's what makes his position there, you know, even more established. But I think we're going to see some stuff in the future, man. These young guys coming up, they're ready to do some crazy stuff. And obviously, you know, things that Luka Doncic and Jokic have been doing have been surreal. So, you know, they're up there. It's just a matter of they're going to win the title. You know, it increases their odds, obviously. You know how it goes.
Yep, got to win.
Yeah.
We locked Dirk up. I don't think we can lock Jokic or Luka up.
No.
Yeah, we locked Dirk up.
Yeah.
Twice.
It was a team effort.
MJ, LeBron, Kobe, rank them.
Ooh.
MJ, Kobe, LeBron.
My man.
MJ, Kobe,
My man.
LeBron. Yeah, good call.
Just how I got it.
Now tell us why, because I think often Kobe is one, and obviously he's gone and rest in peace, but I think for some reason people always want to jump him and automatically compare LeBron and MJ. Why is Kobe number 2 to you?
Honestly, it goes back to the titles, right? I mean, you know, you're going to put Jordan first, obviously, but I really have a problem with Kobe being overlooked. I mean, LeBron James is, you know, probably going to be the greatest scorer in the history of basketball for many years to come. So no doubt that the numbers are going to be on their side. And you can talk about the fear factor all you want. You know, there's a lot of narrative now with guys saying like, oh, guys feared Kobe, guys feared Jordan, they don't feel LeBron. I don't really necessarily think that's true. You know, I've seen it firsthand that
He
guys
makes people scared.
Yes.
What? He makes people
he
scared. He definitely scares people.
Yeah.
So I can only,
easy.
I can only speak from my experience. But we had this discussion. You know, might as well put it out there. You know, I'm ready to argue, was Kobe even more talented player than Jordan? You know,
I don't know if they're ready for that.
I don't know if they're ready for that discussion, but it always goes back to MJ. It always goes back to rings, and definitely fine with that. Obviously, you know, guy I idolized growing up. So a good discussion to have, though, right?
Absolutely.
Great discussion.
If you can rewatch any player in their prime and you can sit courtside for that game, which game would it be?
Ooh, in their prime, it would have to be one of the Kobe games. One of the Kobe games, or maybe one of the MJ games, huh? Maybe like MJ final games, game 6s, some of those. Those are crazy, man.
Kobe getting 81.
Kobe getting 81. I mean, there's so many. Just pick and choose, right?
A lot of buckets.
So, yeah.
If you stuck on an island, what 3 shows or movies will be in rotation?
Wire, number 1.
Wire?
Wire?
Nice.
I put Wire number 1. I'm going to go with Seinfeld number 2.
Nice.
I love Seinfeld. Number 3 would be, let me think. You got me there. I mean, I love Breaking Bad or Sopranos. Like either one is good.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad
You agree with that?
Yeah, I love it.
Either one of them.
Yeah.
If you can post one message on a billboard for not only your country to see, but the world to see, what would your message be? It could be a word or it could be a slogan. What would one message you would want to send to the world?
Be nice to each other.
Oh.
Be nice to one another, man. Just spread joy, spread positive energy, be empathic. And, you know, I think the world needs it now more than ever. I feel like positive energy and love, it just transmits and it always comes back. So, I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
I love it.
If you could see one person on our show, who would it be? But you have to help us get your answer on the show.
And you know a lot of people too, so I'm ready for this answer.
Oh, man.
Dirk.
Dirk.
Dirk?
Dirk. Jordan.
Do you got Jordan's number? You gonna call Jordan?
We know people that know people. Steven Espinoza.
Yeah.
Where you at?
We already got
We know
Janina
people.
working on
We know
Floyd
people.
Mayweather,
So, you know, we got you guys here. So I don't, you know, we dream
Anything
big.
is
We dream
possible.
big, and I'll dream big with you guys. So
Anything is possible.
whoever you guys want, I'm a big fan of the show anyway. So
Yeah.
you know, really hoping for all the best guests.
Well, Damo, man, we wanted to thank
We're
you.
not letting him
obviously.
get off that early. He has to say somebody.
Oh, okay. Who is the person?
Person to get on the show?
Yes.
You know who you got to get on the show? Bill Burr. Bill Burr is a comedian.
Bill Burr is hilarious.
And he's hilarious, dude. So I feel like you two, I mean, two of you and
That'd
Bill
be
Burr,
I like that.
like, let me know if that's a good
That'd be
idea.
a laugh.
Pete
No one
Radovich,
was-
Pete Radovich knows Bill Burr. So
No one would expect him on our show, but it would be classic.
say that.
Yes. it would
So
be.
there we go.
Well, Damo, again, we wanted to thank you and really thank your country. You guys have welcomed us with open arms. The people have been great. The food's been great. It's been beautiful. Some of the most beautiful sunsets in the world. Someone told me that Alfred Hitchcock stayed in a hotel down there and wrote a handwritten letter and left it on the nightstand and said, Croatians have the most beautiful sunsets in the world.
Absolutely. And as you can see, I mean, he wasn't lying.
He wasn't
Every
lying.
day, hundreds and hundreds of people, they gather here and they just stare at this beautiful sun.
Yeah.
And we're so happy to be living in this beautiful country, and I couldn't be more proud that we showed it to you guys.
I'm moving to Lushin.
We want to thank you, Pete, Steven, everyone behind the scenes that we didn't get a chance to meet, to say thank you for having us. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. And we look forward to the rest of the conference, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah.
Much love. Thank you.
Yeah.
So appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Man, we just wrapped our panel at the Sunset Sports Media Festival. Man, we've had a great time in Croatia. Jack, what's your thoughts?
Beautiful place, man. I enjoyed it. Great food. This is a place that I definitely want to come back and visit. Might even buy a house here.
Can you tell the fans why you chose to take a minivan instead of hopping in the private plane with us in Island Hop?
Yeah, one, as y'all know, I work hard to live good and to ride good. The plane was entirely too small for five. I got claustrophobic, so I'd rather drive. And then the good thing about the drive, the scenery was a beautiful scenery, and I blew it down the whole way.
So you would rather take 5 hours on the drive than 20 minutes on the flight?
Just to smoke and be comfortable, I sure will.
You heard it first here, man. We've had a great time in Croatia. Shout out to our man Damo and everybody who made this trip
Shout out
possible.
Damo.
The Showtime bosses, you guys know who you are. Malka. Man, we're in fucking Croatia for a podcast, man.
Level up.